So emergency services officials are on standby on the N3 at Van Rhenen's Pass in KwaZulu-Natal following predictions of heavy rainfall and possible snow from today. Last weekend, you might remember, scores of road users were trapped in the snow on the pass, and authorities say teams are now on standby to ensure a quicker response if needed. Officials have advised people to closely monitor weather updates and to take the necessary precautions. Meanwhile, the Eastern Cape government, at least the transport department there, is warning all motorists to drive carefully as snow is expected to fall over high-lying areas, at least for much of today. At the same time, the Weather Service has issued a warning of disruptive snow between today at midday and 10 p.m. with a low likelihood of significant impact in the Northern Cape interior, the Free State and the Northwest. The Free State Settlement and the Cooperative Governance MEC, I beg your pardon, is Saki Mokoena. And the MEC joins us now via our video link for a sense of how they're preparing for what's ahead. MEC, welcome to the SABC. Thanks very much indeed for making time to speak to us. Before we speak about your state of readiness for the week ahead, perhaps you can help us take stock of any kind of damage, if there is, that you might have suffered due to the last adverse weather effects that we saw in much of the country.
Morning to you as well as morning to the viewers. The greatest damage comes from the livestock that was lost in terms of the farming communities. Our current calculations place us at above 2,500 sheep that have been lost and almost 800 or so cattle and other livestock. There's a bit of damage to the crops. Also being assessed by our agriculture department. In terms of structures or areas where our people live, we are looking at that in the areas of Magda-Pofung. We have not found really the before now. So we can say we are limited to mainly damaging the agricultural spaces, with our people in the communities having suffered the greatest deal as well. And these are your smaller, establishing type of livestock farmers. So they were exposed because of the nature of the design of this community.
And how would you describe the weather conditions as you and I are speaking this morning?
Look, as stated, we are experiencing a cold front. And this cold front is triggered by the snow in the high mountain areas. Or the peaks, really, we are monitoring closely the area of the eastern state, Metro Van Rhenen. We are monitoring Mokoena in terms of levels as strong. This is where we're expecting rain, as well as a light snow. Light snow with a bit of rain or hitting the hot tar, it immediately makes the road to be quite icy and dangerous to drive. We are also worried about fires that might be triggered by people who are trying to warm themselves in informal settlement. But all our machinery is ready on the two fronts. In terms of graders to open the roads, in terms of the fire emergency services, in terms of the heightened visibility of both the traffic and the police officers to enforce really any conditions that will be instituted to make sure that we save lives.
Yeah.
This is directed through the ProJoc as well as the vaccine regionally.
Sure. Your counterparts in places like KwaZulu-Natal are worried that people simply ignore some of these weather warnings. How prevalent would you say that issue is in the Free State?
On our case, we have really unleashed the police together with the traffic officers to make sure that at least on the road we enforce. We are also ready at any stage to close any road in case we believe that the conditions are no longer favorable to preserve lives. We've got similar concerns. I think we've engaged times. We need to be ready to impose stricter measures to preserve the lives of our people, as they really take warnings very light. And when they're in trouble, it becomes a bigger problem on the side of both the government and the family concerned.
Yeah, we're struggling to hear you, MEC. I'm hoping that line will stabilize as we continue our discussion. The official warning in other parts of the country is for people to really consider suspending non-essential travel as a response to these adverse weather conditions. Is that a sentiment that your government is echoing this morning?
I beg your pardon, I think I missed you there.
Yeah, I was just trying to gauge whether or not your government, as well in the Free State, is echoing the sentiments that people should really consider suspending non-essential travel because of the effects of these weather warnings. And as I wrap up the question, there you see the ABC has been lost to us. But I suppose the thrust of the messaging has really been sent through. As I mentioned earlier on, a lot of our focus has been on KwaZulu-Natal, the Western Cape, and maybe that's because some of those effects were so much more pronounced. But the Free State, of course, has also been affected by what's been taking place, certainly from last week. And we're hopefully trying to get a sense of how they're going to be responding to that as we enter into the new work week amid these ongoing weather warnings. We've already crossed to our reporter in Harrismith. If you were able to catch up with us during Morning Live, you might have seen there that the situation for now seems to be relatively okay. Of course, the temperatures have dropped throughout the country, around 10 degrees in Johannesburg at this hour, uncharacteristic of what we've seen in the past. But so far, it's looking like things are relatively calm, especially when you, as I mentioned, juxtapose what's taken place last week to what happened this time around. In KwaZulu-Natal, we're being told of salt in some instances on standby to be sprayed onto the roads there. Those of you who are out there with your chemistry will know that there is a kind of effect that salt has on ice, making it easier to drive on the road. So certainly a whole lot more of a proactive step, it seems, being taken now. I'm told the MEC in the Free State is back on the line with us, and apologies for that, MEC Mokoena. We seem to have lost you for a moment. The question I was asking at that time is whether or not you too are advising motorists to suspend non-essential travel because of these weather conditions.
Yes, we have issued that particular advice that also avoid the N6 as it goes through Mohokare or Zastron areas, primarily because of that light snow. And we know, like I said, the snow on the hot tar, it immediately melts, but with the cold conditions, it creates an icy road that is very dangerous to travel on. So we have mitigated by throwing a lot of police officers into the picture to ensure adherence together with the traffic officer. We really will want our people to really take seriously the warnings that are issued. We should have learned our lessons from last week that lives can be lost if people do not adhere to the road warnings and to the extreme or adverse weather conditions that we are confronted with. And as Free State, we seem to be already caught in the storm because this will be our fourth in a year, the adverse weather condition that really creates hazard on our roads as well as the areas where our people are living. So we need to up the game, both on the side of our people and our side as government as well.
Yeah. Because of how prevalent this issue is seemingly becoming, MEC, I wonder whether or not your government is starting to think about how to restructure human settlements in places like the Free State so that you're able to better respond to these kind of weather warnings in the future.
We have already begun to avoid building below what we call flat lines in our areas. But secondly, at the level of municipalities, we need to work on the disaster management capacity together with the level of the province. I think we have now escalated the issue of disaster management to be one of the top 6 priorities that government has got to deal with in terms of municipalities and turning them around, because if we don't do that, a lot of lives will be lost. So we are in trouble, but we are working hard on it to turn our capacity around disaster management.
Yeah. If there are farmers desperate need of assistance, whether because of last week's weather impact or whatever might take place this week, what's your message to them?
We are working together with the Department of Agriculture to really put measures in place to provide relief using really the provincial coffers. Remember, there are 2 disasters, both the province as well as national. We will be triggering the instrument of a provincial disaster to help intervene in their plight. Their livestock is completely decimated. So government will soon announce measures through the Ministry of Agriculture to help.
All right. The Free State Human Settlements and Cooperative Governance MEC is Saki Mokoena. MEC, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. We appreciate the time.